Pharmacy says it will continue limited disbursement of medicines to various health facilities under the NHRS across the country. Also ahead, former Congolese General Bosco Tanganda appears at the International Criminal Court in The Hague, where he is charged with murder, rape, and the use of child soldiers. Those are our top stories for the hour. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amano. When I return, I'll bring you details of these stories and plenty more. Don't go away. And welcome to News Today. Now, the Chamber of Pharmacy says it will continue limited disbursement of medicines to various health facilities under the NHIS across the country. The Chamber last week gave government February 10 deadline to pay arrears owed its members, or they will suspend supply of medicines to the hospitals. Head of Research and Advocacy at the Chamber, Stanley Ajay, spoke earlier to me on News Desk.
We deal with the health facilities, that's the service provider under the health. So the money will first have to go to the service providers and they will onward pay us. And our understanding is that some money covering a period of 2 months has been released. Even by way of processes is going, so our expectation is that very soon, within a matter of days, some 2 months payment will be received for our drug supply. We were very positional, or our position was that we will go by our position as our earlier release. But following the payment and in the interest of the public and the service general public and subscribers under the scheme, we are holding on and we are supplying following the release, and except to add that the release is not in a substantial, it's not good enough to be able to substantially restore our operations into normalcy. So whilst we will supply, most of our suppliers or the suppliers, most of them, they are warehouses and they've exhausted all means they can supply. So we wait for this money to be able to start supplying our patients, and also those who can supply to will be, except to add that it will be at a minimal or limited scale. So now those ones that are able to, we've gone ahead to agree that they should go ahead, except that they are limited in terms of what they can supply because of the payment and cash flow issues. But those that can, the argument is that they are to be in service, except that things should work fast in terms of the payment so that a reasonable level of normalcy will restore into the operation. And the only response for the delay is that they've still not received their claims from the National Health Insurance Authority. Some releases have been made covering a period of 2 months, and in a matter of a day or two or some few days, with the service providers will intend to pay us. So it's a good news, or it's a good sign, except to add that further releases will need to be made so that normal operations can be restored, so that there will not be even shortfall of drug supplies for us not to be in the position even to supply.
Display of canned foods, especially drinks, to direct sunlight can have serious health implications for buyers. The degree of this, we do not know. Joynews has been exploring these implications following several food safety concerns over the exposure of prepackaged foods to direct sunlight.
Many people might not be aware of the dangers of exposing canned food to direct sunlight. On a typical visit to markets in the capital, many of these canned foods are seen directly exposed to the sun. Drinks are the most exposed. From one store to the other, we counted variety of drinks openly displayed and at the mercy of the sun. I tried to find out from these traders why they exposed canned food to sunlight. Many of them shied away from the cameras, while other traders say they have no stalls to keep their goods in. Some tell me their stalls are too small to contain all their wares. They, however, tell me they have no idea of the health implications of exposing canned food to direct sunlight. We sought the view of a food expert with the Food and Drugs Authority.
Because of the practice of taking the food from the sunlight, putting it in the shade in the evening and bringing it back, that sort of intermittent heating and then cooling can affect the quality of the food. In some instances, you can have rusting taking place with canned foods, because as the temperature goes down, any moisture that is formed in the product will end up rusting the cans. And then as the rust becomes, the effect becomes more and more pronounced, they can create what we call micropores. So you have very tiny holes that are created in the cans, and this will allow gases with microorganisms to enter the food. With the effect of some nutrients, some preservatives, when they are broken down or when they disintegrate, you may have components formed that could lead to cancer.
He further outlined some measures that will help in addressing the situation.
All has to do with infrastructure. Okay, if there's an infrastructural revolution in this country where we are putting people selling in shaded areas, nobody sells in the open sun. Okay, this is eventually this is what it has to come to. You don't put people should not sell in the open sun. It is not done, especially with prepackaged foods. But our shops, people even have shops, they will still want to display drinks and things like that in the sun outside in front of the shop. That is a bad practice. Why don't you keep the food items inside? Let people get in and then pick from there. These items should not be sold directly under the sun. They should be sold in an enclosed facility and at the right temperatures.
He adds the Food and Drugs Authority will continue to play its surveillance role over such practice, but also caution consumers to be careful when purchasing canned foods. Matilda Pamaga for Joy News, Accra.
Leader and chairman of the Great Consolidated Popular Party, Dr. Henry Latte, says domestication can end the dollarization of Ghana's economy. Dr. Latte insists the long-term solution to Ghana's economic woes lies in producing and exporting more. He spoke with my colleague Nia Kofi-Smatabe on Joy News at 8 Sunday.
Asking, how do you think we got to where we are today with the city on what some have termed a free fall?
It's a very good question. This has happened over a number of years. The last time they actually recorded it was by Bloomberg, about 1995. And for 19 years since they started recording, every year the city has depreciated. Every year for 19 years. And I do remember when the late Dan Latte, my father, came out with a proposition and idea about domestication, people laughed at him. They came with Operation Feed Yourself, and it worked. Ghana exported rice, Ghana exported maize, and we were able to encourage companies to produce. He's done it before, so he knows what he was talking about. When he was talking about domestication, I was producing papaya, so I understand domestication as well. But when you look at the whole economics of the world, any government or any country that imports more than they export, they end up having depreciation of their currency. So as we are importing more than we are exporting, it's obvious that we're going to get that. We can't always have ad hoc ways of solving the problem by getting the Bank of Ghana to come up with policies that doesn't confront exportation and production. We have to produce, export. As of now, I know we import a lot of rice. We import sugar. Can't we grow enough rice and enough sugar to produce sugar cane to produce sugar? We have to bite the bullet. It's not easy, but we have to make a point.
But industries are already saying that the current trends are not favorable for them to, as it were, expand their production. So yes, we want to produce locally so that at least we can cut back on using or spending so much foreign currency. But really, if we don't have the capacity to do that, then
we have to bite the bullet. Sometimes that things are difficult to do, but there's an area that, you know, when you go there, although it's long term, it's going to solve the problem. You can't always, every year, after Christmas, waiting for the Bank of Ghana to come up with rules on foreign exchange to try and solve the problem. It helps business people, it helps the psyche of the country, the city depreciates more. We can't continue going on that route.
That's more news ahead, don't go away. Glad you stayed on. Now, subscribers of the 6 active telecom operators in the country's dropping as 3 new 4G LTE, that is long-term evolution players, prepare to launch relatively superior data services this year. Telco subscribership base figures published by the National Communications Authority from January to November 2013 shows that out of a total of 27,665,572 mobile cellular subscriber in Ghana, only 9,763,581 are data subscribers, representing about 35.3% of the total. The remaining 17,901,991, representing 64.7% of mobile subscriptions, are non-data customers who either use feature phones which do not have the capabilities to access web-based services, or they use smartphones but are unable or perhaps unwilling to access web-based products and services. This majority also does not use data devices such as modems and Wi-Fi. Toyota is to end its vehicle and engine production in Australia by the end of 2017, and this will affect thousands of jobs. It also announced plans to close its Australian sales subsidiary and said it could scale down the operations of its development and technical centre there. Toyota says high manufacturing costs had forced it to make a painful decision. Last year, Ford and General Motors holding unit also announced plans to stop producing cars in Australia. Toyota's exit to leave Australia with no car manufacturers, effectively ending the local industry. British bank Barclays says it will announce an adjusted pre-tax profit of £5.2 billion, about $8.5 billion for 2013 when it reports its results on Tuesday. This is down a quarter from its earnings in 2012. Its adjusted profit before tax will come in below the $5.4 billion average forecast from analysts polled by the bank. Barclays says it will report a statutory pre-tax profit of £2.9 billion for 2013. The news from elsewhere, Congolese militia leader Bosco Ntaganda has appeared before the ICC. I'll tell you more about it when I return.
Good afternoon. Time now for us to talk sports. My name is Barbara Tando. Now we begin from the stables of the Black Stars with the head coach Kwesi Appiah, who says that he's even ready today if he has to mention the 23 players who would have to face all the other teams in Ghana's group before they happen to progress to the next stage if the World Cup is supposed to happen. Coach Kwesi Appiah caught up with my colleague Benedict Owusu-Dankwa in South Africa in an exclusive interview with Joy Sports.
I mean, I personally believe that all coaches that have qualified to the World Cup, I mean, if not all, all the coaches should at least know at least 20 people in mind, And for me, I don't believe in limiting my scope of monitoring. I most of the time try to, add maybe 2 or 3, because you never know. From now to May, I'm personally praying that we don't get any injuries or any sickness along the line. But as to presenting the team, if we were to play even today, I'll be able to put out a 23-man squad.
Now, one of the players who will be wishing or who will be praying hard to make it into Coach Kwesi Appiah's 23-man squad for the World Cup in Brazil come June is goalkeeper Fatau Dauda, who has signed for South African side Orlando Pirates. Now, this weekend, he was giving his debut for the team in a league match, and he has been talking to Joy Sports, and he says that it's quite difficult in South Africa, but he's willing to fight to make a regular place or to have a regular place for Orlando Pirates in the PSL in South Africa.
Let's say when you put together best players together, definitely some will start, some will sit down. If you are sitting out, that doesn't mean you are not good. Especially in goalkeeping. How many times do you see a team changing the goalkeeper? Unless injury or suspension card, yellow, red card and stuff. You understand? So that's what I'm saying. It's a challenge. I know I'm not coming to fight easy, but I need to, fight and then learn something from others so that I can come and help my nation. You understand? I need to progress in life. It's not easy, but I know things will change. The most important is when you are playing a club, every club, the club is being owned by the fans. That's what, but they know what I can do. But I think I need to work. I'm still working hard. Waiting for the most important thing for me to do is to wait for the chance. When the chance comes, I'll just grab it.
All right, so it looks like the English Premier League and the Spanish La Liga are the leagues to look forward to, especially as their winners will have to be found when the leagues actually go down to the wire, because the chase is on. In Spain, it's 3 teams. And in England, it's about 4 or 5 teams who are capable of clinching the trophy at the end of the season. And that'll be it for sports for today. My name is Baba Tando. The sports segment on Midday News is proudly brought to you by Tigo and Cowbell.
Now, the Bank of Ghana last week announced measures to help halt the free fall in the cedi's value. It also directed that all transactions in the country be conducted in Ghana cedis in compliance with Bank of Ghana notice dated October 10, 2012. It said it has revised rules governing the operations of foreign exchange accounts and foreign currency accounts with effect from February 5, 2014. The statement goes on to say authorized dealers shall not sell foreign exchange for the credit of FEA or FCA of their customers. The Bank of Ghana says transfers from one foreign currency denomination account to another are not permitted. The ceiling placed on FCAs and FEAs has led to a lot of people question how this would affect importers of various commodities into the country. Samson Asaki Awengobit is Executive Secretary of Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, and we'll talk about this directive over the next few minutes. Hello, Samson.
Hello, Kemi.
Thanks for joining us on News Today.
Thank you for having us as well.
Right, let's look at this directive the Bank of Ghana has come up with. The worry for many was for importers and exporters like yourself. What's your interpretation of all of those measures?
Well, first and foremost, let me say good afternoon to your cherished listeners out there, and good afternoon to our members, that's the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. What we are saying is that it's a welcome idea for the Bank of Ghana trying to control the black market system in this country. That anybody can just wake up and go to the bank and collect a huge sums of dollars, get to the market at the roadside there and started calling people to come and exchange money with them without even having prejudice to the interbank rate. Now the black market people are now determining the rate for Ghanaians, but not the central bank, the Bank of Ghana. Therefore, the measure that they brought to control the black market system, it is a welcome idea to us. But what is bothering us is that now we used to have foreign account, foreign currency account, whereby you can do offshore banking system. You can transfer as an importer. If our members are going to go and travel out there to bring goods, they can quickly transfer the money to the sisters banks there. So that when they get it, they can withdraw the money to do the packaging. What is happening is that the law that Bank of Ghana is saying that when you even come for the money and you go out there to buy your goods and get back to the country, you bring an invoice to account for them to see that it is really the amount that you took from the bank, you've really used it for it. I think that is unwarranted. Why should you control someone's money? No, what is going to affect that is that they are now giving the limitation that you can only withdraw 10,000 or any equivalent to $10,000 from the bank, from the counter, and therefore only for the purpose of traveling. So meaning you and I, if you are not going to travel today, we cannot have access to that $10,000. Two, putting the force on the importers or even Ghanaians When you have your money at the bank today, as we go back, your dollar account has been changed to CD account. That is also one way or the other that we are not happy. But what we want the Bank of Ghana to know is that our members take the monies out there to really buy goods and come. And indeed, we pay duty to the government of Ghana. It is not our money. It is not the money that the importers are using to do the trading that is making the CD rise against the dollar. But rather, those expatriates who are here, open the companies, gold mining and other things, that at the end of the day, they expatriate all their profit back to their country. But not the Ghanaians. The Ghanaians would rather increase more revenue to the government of Ghana by importing to this country and paying so much taxes to the government of Ghana. We are saying that they should rather get a form. Like, for instance, if I'm banking with Barclays Bank, they should rather get a form like the way South Africa is doing. You go there, you tell the banker how much you want and what you're going to use for. They will give your money to you. But not that after I take my money, $50,000, $60,000, goes out there, buy goods, come back to the port, they see the value of my goods, I paid money for it. Then if someone is telling me that, go come back, immediately you return, come and file. Is it the return? Is it the tax that I should come to account how much or what I've used my money for? That is what we think that it is. We have to look at the laws. What does the Ghana Constitution say?
So what will the association do about this?
One, first and foremost, we will be writing to the Governor of Bank of Ghana on behalf of our members to let them see the plight. Indeed, other measures Bank of Ghana is putting is that if you are going, you have to, I mean, when you are looking for the dollar to travel, you need to bring certain documents to prove that actually you are going to use the document to do the money to do the trading. Then we are going to write to them that they should come out with a form rather to the bank so that when you go there, you complete the form, tell the bankers what you want the dollar for or what you want the money for. They should give it to you, you go and do your business and come back to this country. This is what we are talking about. Or otherwise, we will write to the bank to let the bank know that if you need any evidence to know whether this is a Ghanaian importer who is going out there to buy goods and come, they can contact the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, where our office, the national office, is in Tema, where I sit there from Monday to Friday. Even sometimes Saturday, it comes to the office. They should call on that, and we can also give out a data. We can confirm that yes, the person is an importer, and the person gets his money and go, not to go through this unnecessary headache.
We'll leave our conversation here. Thank you very much, Samson.
Thank you for having us too.
Asaki Awingobet is Executive Secretary, Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. Let's do some other stories. And Congolese militia leader Bosco Ntaganda appears at the International Criminal Court on Monday, charged with war crimes and other atrocities in a hearing that will be a test for the global legal institution after a string of troubled cases. Ntaganda is accused of crimes against humanity and war crimes including murder and rape, all allegedly committed during a 2002 to 2003 conflict and a mineral-rich east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. He has yet to enter a plea. The court's 11 years old this year has handed down just one conviction, jailing another Congolese warlord, Thomas Lubanga, for 14 years in 2012 for using child soldiers. Ntaganda handed himself into the U.S. Embassy in the Rwandan capital, Kigali, last March after a 15-year career as a commander in a series of rebellions in Congo's Ituri province. Malawi's Electoral Commission will begin receiving nomination papers for presidential, parliamentary and local level elections beginning Monday ahead of the May 20 vote. Spokesman for the Electoral Commission, Sangwani Mwafulirwa, says on January 15, the Malawi Electoral Commission gave all political parties their nomination papers. This will give them ample time to gather supporting materials before submitting documents to the electoral body for screening and possible acceptance. For the first time, prospective voters will witness 3 debates among the presidential candidates, which will be broadcast on radio, television, and social media platforms. We'll stay on the continent, and negotiations between South Sudan's warring factions will resume Monday in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Officials say after Monday's opening ceremony of the resumption of the peace talks, the negotiations will be moved to Debre Zit, a town 45 kilometers south of Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, according to Ethiopia's foreign ministry spokesman Dina Mufti. Both factions have claimed to abide by the cessation of hostilities agreement despite reports of clashes between the two groups in several parts of the country. The factions signed a cessation of hostilities agreement on January 4 following international pressure. The conflict in South Sudan has so far left over 1,000 people dead and hundreds of thousands displaced from their homes. Two owners of Bangladesh garment factory where 112 workers died in a fire 2 years ago have turned themselves into the authorities. The Tazreen fire was the country's deadliest garment factory fire and brought attention to working conditions in the all-important garment industry. Delwar Hussain and his wife were charged with homicide in December. The couple arrived at Dhaka Magistrates Court and have now been jailed after their plea for bail was rejected. Although arrest warrants had been issued in December, they had been living freely in Dhaka. They face a maximum sentence of life in prison if convicted. A recent U.S. government report says more Afghan land is under poppy cultivation today than it was under the Taliban in 2002. Demand for drugs, especially on the streets of rich countries, and the poor economic and security situation in Afghanistan are often cited by experts as the reasons for the failure of the fight to combat poppy cultivation. Afghanistan produced close to 90% of the world's opium in 2013. The drug not only affects the local population, but also finds its way to more affluent markets in the Western countries. Vigilante groups in the A few days to Valentine's Day, and dresses, especially in the color of red, seem to be scarce on the markets. Showbiz has been gauging the relevance of the color red on this special love day.
You were always on my mind. Said I'm in love with you now. And I promise on my life, I'm in love with you now. What else? Now. Girl, I'm in love with you now.
Apart from traditional funerals where the color red dominates what is worn, Valentine's Day in the past saw a lot of people wearing the color red, which is seen as depicting love. The color dominates fashion on the day, seen by the dresses worn by the young and old. But the question is it really relevant? Some sample opinions indicate they wear red because of the day.
Since the celebration of Valentine, it has been red, matters of the heart. In all the drawings, when you look at the heart, the shape of a heart is red. So that is the color that has been chosen for this particular day as Valentine. I don't have much to say about it. That is the color chosen for it. So we are all going by it. These days they said they are even changing it to chocolate day. And what is the color? Brownish. And what is the color of the wrapper of the chocolate? It's red. What we came to see is red. So I think it's perfect color for the day.
Personally, I'm not a fan of the color red, but it's just something for everyone. So, it's a loving color for everyone, but personally, not at all.
Others think differently.
It's something that stands out in everywhere you go. Red is a color that stands in every darkness, right? And for women, they see red as something that is instituted in them. When I'm talking about red, you know what I'm talking about. And when they see red, they know that because it's Valentine, men have to do what they have to do to make them what happy they want. So for red, that is their color, and they want to enjoy red. And that is why they enjoy Valentine, because it's red.
People see it to be like a day that you put on certain things, like that color, to tell your spouse or to tell somebody that you are in love. But red particular, you know, is a certain color that if you put it on, people see that yes, this person is red, or this person is really going through certain problems or whatever it is. But red for me per se, it is not necessary that you have to wear red to mean that on that particular day is a Val's Day.
Well, the question remains unanswered. Is the color red relevant on Valentine's Day?
Well, I seem to have started way early ahead of the day. Our headlines for the hour. The Ghana Chamber of Pharmacy says it will continue limited disbursement of medicines to various health facilities under the NHIS across the country. Former Congolese General Bosco Intaganda appears at the ICC in The Hague, where he is charged with murder, rape, and the use of child soldiers during 15 years as a rebel fighter in the Eastern DRC. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Thank you very much for staying through the year. Have a great week. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amano.